Hey, Sean. Wondering if you can give us if there's any updates on Brian Allen, and any other players that might have been injured.
Yeah, so Brian got an MCL sprain. We'll just kind of take it a day at a time with him. Definitely, that's good news. Where it's not anything that you're immediately ruling him out for Arizona, but we will be smart with him. I don't expect him to practice. Probably Wednesday or Thursday, maybe Friday. We'll give it a shot with him, but we'll see how he's feeling. But it was an MCL sprain. Robert Rochelle got a little bit of a kind of a rib deal on that punt that he downed inside the one late in the game. He's going to be sore. We'll see how he manages the pain throughout the course of the week, but I would expect him not to practice early on. And those are really the only guys that I see immediately affected from stuff from the game yesterday.
So if Brian cannot return, we can expect. Can we expect to see Coleman Shelton? So, kind of what's kind of your evaluation of how he did last night and moving forward?
I thought he did a really good job, Gary. Coleman's been a guy that he's been really steady. He's been a great communicator, has great command of what we're trying to get done. I thought he physically played tough and steady in really both the run and the pass phases. Really pleased with him, and not in the least bit surprised, but you are certainly proud of the way that he came in. There was a lot of different things that they can present defensively. I thought he and Matthew did an outstanding job of kind of commanding that. Really proud of him. I thought he did a really, really nice job to come in there and do what he did. And, hopefully we'll be able to get Brian back, but I certainly have a whole lot of confidence in Coleman if he's got to go this week. And
finally, from me, Andrew Whitworth celebrating his 40th birthday here this week before the game against Arizona. Just in your experience and, being around the league, how unusual is it from your perspective to have a guy that age still starting?
Very rare. Andrew is a special person, special player. He sure has meant a lot to this organization, both on and off the field. I think sometimes you take for granted that he's 40 years old. If you didn't know, with the bald head and stuff like that, I mean, he moves around like he's young, and he's got great athleticism. He actually, if you Google some pictures, he looks better here than he did in Cincinnati. So, he's buying into this California thing, really living the Hollywood lifestyle. But no, he's been outstanding, Gary. It really, it's an unbelievable, accomplishment to still be playing the way he's playing at the age of 40, doing the things that he's done. I mean, you're in rarefied air, and, very grateful for Andrew. I think it's a huge testament to his preparation, some of the blessings with his ability and talent, and how much this game means to him.
Stu. Also another question about Andrew Whitworth, Sean, just how rare is it for him to kind of have the career longevity that he's had, just even in your time in the league? I mean, obviously not many offensive tackles play until they're, 40 or older. What's he doing specifically that's allowed him to kind of extend his career compared to maybe some of the other offensive tackles you've coached and things like that?
I don't know about, it's hard to compare him to anybody else because I've never been around anybody that's played as long and as consistent and as steady as him, with the body of work, the resume, and just, like I said, the consistency over time. I always tell our team, consistency is the truest measurement of performance, and it's been impressive. I think the way he takes care of himself, he does a great job. He's got a great understanding of how to get his body in the right position, to feel good and to sustain throughout the course of the year. I think he really leans heavily on his training staff. Reggie and his group do such a great job. And then I think he's definitely been blessed, to have, some great genetics to be able to sustain and play this long. And, there's so many different things, but it takes a huge commitment, a lot of sacrifices on his end. And he's done an outstanding job.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nick.
Hey, Coach. Also about Andrew Whitworth, just can you talk about just his leadership and what have you seen, how has that grown over the course of time since you've arrived with the Rams, and be able to watch him just develop that with the younger guys?
Yeah, he's always kind of been an old soul, and now he's truly getting older. But when I first started working with him, Nick, and you really get to know the human being, he's always had a real high capacity and I think a passion for leadership because he has a passion for people. He was a leader. He was a captain in Cincinnati, really well established as kind of a cornerstone, a foundational part of a lot of the things that were good in Cincinnati. And then I was really impressed with him coming here, 5 years ago where, I'm new, he's new. He's a part of the signing with Robert Woods. And, these guys are kind of they don't really feel like they have to assert themselves into a leadership role. I think he's seamlessly just kind of found it, allowed it to seamlessly happen where he's connecting with his teammates. He's getting a feel for the atmosphere and the environment. And now he's become one of those foundational cornerstones for everything that's been right about the Rams for the last handful of years. In addition to guys like the Woods, the Cups, the Aaron Donalds, who was doing it even before we all got here. But it's been, he cares a lot about people. I think the best thing is a lot of the ways that he's leading are in ways that it's just one-offs with guys, in private, not necessarily something that's always out in front. And I think those are really good ways to connect with guys, but he sure cares a lot about these teammates. It means that this game means a lot to him. He pours out, his heart and soul into this thing for these guys. And I think people feel that, and that's what you appreciate as much as anything.
And being a part of that, how have you been able to cultivate that relationship between you and him to be able to provide success, not just on the field, but what have you seen from him off the field as well?
Yeah, I think all the things that he does to use the platform for the right reasons, is something that's really special. I think that's one of the things that really a lot of our team does a great job with Molly Higgins and that group. But, I just think with Andrew, it's a really unique thing, Nick, because, we're really roughly around the same age, so we've had a lot of the same experiences. And, I think it's the thing that's pretty cool about pro football is you can have real relationships with these guys because of the things that you're going through and you're in a similar place in life, but just so well thought out, so sincere and genuine. And then, he's obviously a really special player.
Thanks, Coach.
You got it, Nick.
Lindsay.
Hey, Sean, I know over the last couple of years, you guys have had some fun kind of lighthearted ways of sometimes referencing Andrew's age. I'm just wondering if there's any nicknames or any references to his age that you particularly enjoy making in meetings or even with us sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the same stuff. It's kind of the generic, he's like 500 years old or however you want to do it. But I'm always ragging him in some sort of way, but it's really a backhanded compliment because I'm probably just jealous that I couldn't do what he did. So it's unbelievable, for him to be able to do that. But, it's all the same things that you've seen, whether it was on Hard Knocks or just giving him a hard time, it's all the standard age jokes. I don't have any particular nickname other than Big Whip for him.
And then is there anybody around who's planning a 40th birthday celebration for him this week with you guys?
I'd be very surprised if Melissa Whitworth doesn't have something in the works for him or some of his teammates, but nobody talks to me. It's lonely over here. I just sit here in my office, talk to you guys through Zoom and just cry myself to sleep at night.
Thanks, Sean.
Not really.
Yeah, be better, man.
Kevin.
Hi, Sean. You'll feel better knowing that Matthew Stafford made a point of praising your game plan yesterday.
Oh, nice.
I'm sure you needed that. But especially with the running game, what went into to its success yesterday? I mean, apart from Sony Michel's obvious contribution, but what you did with the offensive line with Joe Noteboom. I wonder if you could take us through that.
Yeah, I think, the first thing is that's always appreciated, but I think it's a real reflection of the offensive staff. I thought they did a great job. They put together the game plans. They do a great job of really identifying ways to take advantage of utilizing our personnel, how we want to kind of sequence the game from early downs to the different situations that arise. And it really is about taking advantage of the guys that we do have up. We've obviously had some changes, some adjustments. And if you have different approaches, it doesn't necessarily mean that it can't be better. It's just going to be different. And so that was what we felt like was the best way to approach the Jaguars game yesterday. Whether or not that's the approach that we take against the Cardinals is something that we work through throughout the course of the week. But I did think to get Joe Noteboom involved was big. He's a really good football player. Whenever he's gotten an opportunity to fill in and play the tackle position, or even when he started at games at guard in previous years, he's just a really good, solid football player. I thought he had some really good physical, tough plays. Thought some of those tight ends did a nice job. And, the receivers are continuing to grow as well. It was a good job by those guys. And then Sony, I thought he really established himself, similar to some of the questions that Jordan asked yesterday, Kevin. Thought we were able to stay on track. We were able to kind of just slowly, be able to, I don't necessarily say wear them down, but you kind of have some of those body blows. And I thought you saw the benefits of that as the game progressed. And I think that's where you see a lot of the production that we had in the second half as a result of just some of that steady pounding that Sony was able to provide, from the first half on.
Mm-hmm. And then the last one from me, have you found your kickoff returner, which I guess is to ask, did Brandon Powell earn a roster spot?
Yeah, you know what? Those are things. He did a great job. So yes, we want to continue to have him, return those kicks. I thought it was a really well blocked return, and I thought he did a great job being decisive and getting vertical. I mean, Terrell Burgess was outstanding on that play. I was really pleased with the effort from him to be able to make a key block at the point of attack and then be able to go get out in front and get another one. And then I thought Brandon did a great job being able to set it up. So really pleased with him. Some of the semantics on, all right, do you use an active roster spot or not on some of that? You do have some more flexibility than previous years with the ability to flex a guy from your practice squad up twice. That's still an option, as is, putting him on the active roster. All of those are things that we kind of work through really after I get through this meeting, with you guys for the most part.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jordan.
Hey, Sean, kind of as it pertains to some of the conversations centered around the running game, the last couple of days, Friday included some of your comments on steadiness, things like that. Are you looking at a future here where, regardless of Daryl's health, you can see Sony sort of stepping into that leadership role and assuming that lead back position?
I think it's really good to get Sony going. I think he's a rhythm runner, but I think we definitely would want to find ways to still, have Daryl as a big part of it, Jordan. What exactly that looks like, the distribution of carries, I don't know that, but I know that we're a really good team and we're a better team when we have Daryl Henderson involved as well. And so, you saw us mix up some different personnels. There's nothing that says that you can't find a way to have both those guys in the game at the same time as well. You see Dallas do an outstanding job with Zeke and Pollard playing together. And so, I think there's some more avenues that we can explore as ways of taking advantage of all the skills and some of the players that we do have at our disposal. But it will be good to continue to get Sony going, get him into a rhythm and play the way that he played yesterday, while also, utilizing Daryl if he's available this week or not.
Yeah, and you kind of started to answer my follow-up question, but I know you can't get too much into strategy or anything like that, but as it pertains to how a lot of defenses are playing you guys in the past, particularly this year, a little bit of an increase last year, but a lot of the too high stuff, you guys are seeing it like 6th highest rate in the NFL right now. Are things like the ability to maximize all of your personnel, things like extra tackles, more 12 personnel, even if it's blocking, 2-back sets, are those strategies that you think could maybe become in vogue again because of that increase across the league?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think this league goes in cycles, it kind of like what we've talked about. And then a lot of it is a product of, okay, what's the defensive philosophy and the approach? And you've seen some teams that want to do that. And it's like anything else. If somebody has what it appears to be success against you, usually you're going to see copycats. It's no different than when offensive plays work against an opposing defense. You say, all right, well, let's steal that idea or make it our own by making one tweak here or there. And so I think ultimately, if you are seeing teams that want to just live in a world of playing shell on you, if you don't have the ability to run the football and be able to be efficient and stay on track when they're not going to screw a safety down or have every single person committed to a gap like those single high defenses reflect and allow, there's no reason for teams not to have more body presence on the back end to alleviate the stress that some of the explosive passes can present. And there are still ways to attack people in shell coverage based on the way that you want to distribute some of the route concepts. But I think if you don't have the ability to do both, I think you're going to have a tough time being a really good offense in this league. The best offenses have the ability to run it or throw it. Does that mean it's got to be a perfect balance? I don't necessarily think that. I know you know how I feel about those things. But if they're daring you to say, hey, we're going to lend so much body presence on the back end and you don't have an ability to make people pay running the football, it's going to be a tough day for you. And so that's where the best have the ability to do either or. And I think it is important for us to be able to do that. How that's expressed on a week in and week out basis could be all of those things. I think at first is about the players. Does it fit? And then how do you attack the opposing defensive system and structure with their fronts, their coverages, the different pressures that they're presenting. So I do think that those are things that you'll see. It's a very cyclical league, and everything goes in cycles, but I think you're seeing a trend in that. And, you can be a little bit more difficult to defend based on the blocking surfaces that you can present with those different personnels outside of just 11, like we've talked about a lot on here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dennis.
Hey, Coach McVay, how are you today?
I'm good. How you doing, Dennis?
I'm great. What makes Sony so effective as a downhill runner?
Well, I think he's physical. He's tough. I think he's got great contact balance and really good vision. And, he's just strong. He's just, if you said, when you're just looking at Sony Michel, he's a sturdy, tough back. And so all of those things are, I think, really reflective. He's really conscientious, really smart. I've kind of mentioned it about Odell the last couple of weeks, but, people forget Sony came in here, at the very end of training camp and immediately is playing in week 1, where he's up and available against the Bears. And then he had a huge workload against the Colts at the end of the game. His football intelligence and makeup and who he is all about the right stuff. Love working with him. But I think ultimately the physicality, the build, his vision, and his ability to be able to fall forward and kind of be able to naturally work edges, but deliver those body blows is what makes him a good physical contact runner.
Is this the time of year where you're going to depend or have to depend on that type of physicality from your runners?
I think that's definitely something that can be a real benefit for us if we're able to do that, Dennis, without a doubt.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.
All right, we'll wrap up with Mike, then Lindsay.
Hi, Sean. Apologize if you answered this earlier in the call. It looked like the Jaguars' defensive philosophy against you guys was to take away Cooper Kupp, and I think he didn't have a single catch on those first 5 drives that presented opportunities for Ben and Tyler and Van and some other guys. So what did you do from a play calling standpoint to free him up later in the game and get him the ball? And then what can you say about Coop's patience to be able to kind of go, without a catch for so long and then still rack up a 100-yard game and a touchdown and everything that came with it?
Yeah, he's amazing, Mike. He just does such a great job. I think he's got such an understanding of what's going on, and you see sometimes the attention that's paid to him, and I think it is important to try to be able to get everybody involved, but he certainly maximized his opportunities to the fullest yesterday, and it's like anything else. Sometimes they can come in bunches. I thought that first drive coming out of the third quarter where he makes the big catch down the sideline, then he ends up finishing that with the touchdown that you want to talk about a smart player. I don't know if you guys saw his explanation of that play. That guy's unbelievable. I mean, it just made me smile. But he is, he's a stud. He does so many different things for us. But anytime that you have the production that he does, you're gonna, definitely dictate a lot of attention. Week in, week out, guys need to be able to step up, but then it's our job to creatively find ways. And fortunately, we were able to get a couple looks defensively that were favorable for him to be able to maximize those matchups. And those are things that you're always kind of hunting up, but great player, great production, but he does so many different things outside of just with the ball. I mean, he's doing an outstanding job in the run blocking surfaces, and he is, he's so impressive. He's such a special person and player, and just grateful to be able to work with him.
Sean, just quick clarification on Brian Allen's MCL. Do you know if that's his left or right knee, given he obviously had the ACL?
It's his right knee.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.